Welcome back to Channel's Business Global with me, Juliana Olayinka, from our studios here in London. As Nigeria continues its journey towards economic growth and development, one institution plays a pivotal role in ensuring sustainable revenue generation and fiscal stability. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, under the leadership of Zach Adedeji, stands at a critical juncture in establishing efficiency and innovation in the realm of tax administration. I want you to talk to me, if you can, about Nigeria's tax landscape and what plans you have over the next few years to evolve the state it's in at the moment.
Thank you for this invite. When you talk about Nigeria landscape, I like to premise it on Mr. President's vision for Nigeria. And number one vision is to banish poverty. And that is why we have the cliche under his administration that our plan is to tax prosperity, not poverty, to tax return, not investment, and to tax the fruit and not the seed. What that means is that our approach to tax administration in Nigeria is of sheer prosperity, because our vision as a tax administrator is to assess fairly, collect equitably, and keep responsibly. That is our plan. So if you look at general landscape and you see the antecedents or the plan Mr. President has done, is to first of all reset economic fundamentals. Because if you are to tax the prosperity, there must be a good economic environment. That is why we remove subsidy, which is causing a lot of imbalance. Not only that, the central bank unified the rate to make sure that we have equitable access to all good market economy. So that is the first thing that we've done. Not only that, Mr. President set up a presidential committee on tax reform and fiscal policy, because one of the major problems we have is this multiplicity of taxes. And then we've done our assessment that what gives us roughly more than 85% of our taxes is not more than 9 taxes. So why do we have these 46 taxes? So Mr. President set that up. And then when you look at all those things, it's just to put fundamental in place to make sure that the tax administration, tax system actually serves the purpose it's supposed to serve, which is one, equitable distribution of the national or country wealth, and also to be able to mobilize domestic revenue for economic development. So when you look at Mr. President's plan as far as tax administration is concerned, it is looking and going into fundamental so that we can have sustainable way of domestic revenue mobilization. So that is the plan. So when you ask about the landscape, we have been there now almost 1 year. And if to go by anything that we've seen, I know we are in a good path. And Mr. President's idea of not increasing taxes but reduce the number we have to single digits, actually that is the mandate he has given to us, and removing all the bottlenecks that can impede business growth. Because if we are to tax the poverty, the prosperity, not poverty, we need to banish the poverty. And if you look at the what even recently, the commencement of consumer credit, which is what return the power, purchasing power to people. And then the plan we have is today they are focusing on civil servants because of their fixed income and certainty of their income. The next 12 months it will cover the whole country, and that is growing the manufacturing base, because then you know that people have purchasing capacity. If you look at the infrastructure that Mr. President plan on infrastructure, because for us to have a sustainable development, our infrastructure and agric development, which is food security, must go pari passu, which is the plan we have. So for us, tax is just a consequence of our actions. And that is why you see me, even as a chairman of Federal Land Revenue, I work more, not on collection, but on making sure that economic fundamentals are right, then I can collect more.
You're talking about taxing prosperity. I suppose that was the plan when you put in place this expatriate levy a few weeks ago. It was quickly overturned because there was so much backlash. I want you to talk to me about why that was overturned and going forward, how your institution will make sure you're robustly engaging with stakeholders and business too, because of course, if you're taxing prosperity, that's going to hurt business owners. Nobody wants to pay tax, really. But how are you going to engage so those mistakes don't happen again?
No, it is not a mistake. That is a sign of us responsible to our citizens. You know, sometimes when you incubate idea, and even with all consultation, so at the time you apply it and you discover that you are not getting the results you are looking for. That's why we are human. That is why Mr. President is the leader. He is the leader because he takes input and say, oh, this thing, we need to rework it because it's not giving us the results that we want. And then we reverse it. And that we will always open to that. We are reasonable, just to say that we are reasonable when we think, don't forget that we are also Nigerian citizens. We are part of them. So we feel what they feel, and then that's why we reverse that. And consultation is continuous. We will always continue to consult going forward in those areas. So if we make mistake, we open to treat, and then we correct ourselves. Angels only live in heaven. So to make mistake is for us human, and that is why learning continues every day. We don't see it as a mistake. We just see it the way we should not get it done, and then we reverse it.
Tax evasion, a massive issue, not just in Nigeria, but across the world. I don't know if you're familiar with the Panama Papers scandal that's been in the headline about 5 years ago. It's only now that those who have been accused are going through court. Talk to me about what you and this administration are doing to stop tax evasion and to encourage people to pay their fair due.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Our policy or principle and vision is to drive compliance, a voluntary compliance. And the first thing is to develop trust between us and our people. And that is what Mr. President has busy doing in the last 11 months. The moment people believe that you make best use of their resources, so complying is very simple. That is for general principle. And then for us as tax administrator, what we put in place is this digitalization. And then we are making sure streamlining the tax filing process to make sure that we have single points of data. And what we've put in place today is to make sure that the primary identity for all taxpayers going forward will be the NIN that we're doing, and it will become the primary base upon which all other activities hinges. So for us, for the kind of thing we put in place, which is not for public consumption, so because it's compliance method that we have that will drive voluntary compliance, I don't think we will have that problem going forward in Nigeria. Technology is there, we have wonderful people, and we have good process, and most importantly, Mr. President is delivering on his promise, and the people's trust is coming up.
Wonderful people and a good process. I think I'm going to have to, mark that down and come back to you on that. As we start wrapping up, I want you to talk to me about some of the headwinds that you may be facing, because we are at a critical juncture of the administration. You seem to be doing very, very well. You're youthful, young, you've got some innovative ideas. Talk to me about some of the short-term plans you have over the next coming months to ensure that the tax landscape helps with economic growth and the entire Renewed Hope agenda.
Well, thank you very much. Number one commendation after Almighty God is to the President that have seen it in us and given us that wonderful leadership so that we can do our best. And then next to that is the wonderful team I have. So I'm just a pointer to many people working behind the scene that you may not see. And this is giving us hope that Nigeria will have enough talent to actually taking us to promised land. So when you talk about our short term, our vision is derived directly from the vision of Mr. President, and is to banish poverty by setting fundamental pillar of economic development, which he has started on infrastructure. If you look at it, you see student loan that we've done, because we want to, the more you have people in school, the better they are to contribute to their society. You see the consumer credit that he has put on board, and then you see the way, if you go towards the PMS price that is going up, put plans together to make sure we make best use of abundant gas that we have in Nigeria. So when you look at all the plan the Mr. President has, you will see that that is where we, most especially at Service, Federal Land Revenue Service, drive our plan from, because our is to fund the vision of Mr. President, and that is what we are doing day and night. And like I said, wonderful kudos to my team. They are wonderful here and there, many of them behind the scene that you don't see. I'm just a pointer to what they are doing, and I'm just representing them.
I can see that humility is part of your brand, and the brand is doing pretty well. If you can, talk to me about leadership, and I do want you to talk to me about working for the president. You are very young. I don't know if you have time to go on X, formerly known as Twitter, but in terms of the mood music, people seem to like your approach. Where does that come from? Where do you get the strength? How do you motivate your team? And have you learnt a lot of these skills from the president?
One thing I will say is that possibly God will help you to just be with Mr. President for, say, 10, 40 minutes. So the kind of injection, so to say, that I will receive from him, there is no way. And if you look at the way, my age, the kind of responsibility and everything, so the same thing I receive from him, I give to my team. One is set clear vision. He is never distracted. He take decision based on data. And that is it. So when you have that kind of thing, there is no way you'll not be motivated. And the same thing I try to do within my team to make sure that we don't have so-called predetermined destination. We want to take decision based on data. And this is what I have to do. All of us in God we trust, but every other person must bring data. So when you make decision that is data driven, you can hardly make mistake. And we encourage open management. You will know whether you are doing well or whether you are not doing well. Because when you set the target and then you see the way it is, so that is what we have. But most important thing, after grace of God, it is that we have the wonderful leader and in president that is giving us the opportunity to do our best and giving us that political will to confront and remove all the bottlenecks that can delay our performance.
Final question, and I want to bring it back to where we are. We're in the British capital, we're in London, you're here for an official event. What do you learn when you travel around the world about their tax system and the way citizens pay tax? And being in London, do you glean anything from your compatriots in other parts of the world? What's unique about Nigeria that you don't see anywhere else?
Actually, not only in London. I read something that those that travel read all the books because when you travel, it's far, far more than what you learn when you travel. So it's not only in London, so because it's good that you do peer review and everything. But the only thing I have, most especially when I travel, is that in every country or every city you go, there are challenges. But the issue is that they have people that are determined to overcome those challenges. So if you come here, this code and everything, compare it to Nigeria where weather is good, you don't need to put all these things together, you don't need to burn all this. So there are challenges and they put their minds together to resolve their challenge. I was just reading in the Financial Times yesterday and even today about the water problem here in London. So what I would say, so there are problems everywhere, but you see the determination, whether from citizen or the leadership, to make sure that they overcome that problem so that they will increase the welfare of our people. And the same thing I'm saying in Nigeria, that I know, and for what I've seen in the last 11 months, that we have what it takes to turn Nigeria to the leader of the black race.
Zach Adedeji, Executive Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time and expertise today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.